When you're trying to find vanishing points and an eye level line in real life, I would start with what I call a pretty good drawing. Linear perspective is great for taking a pretty good drawing and making it quite convincing. If you start with the eye level line, you may find yourself getting really frustrated right away. Because remember, the eye level line is a physical thing in your drawing. It's the place where if this hallway were to fill up with water to the level of my eyeballs, everything below it would be wet and everything above it would be dry. That's the place. And so I've got to get it right in the drawing. And I think you'll see what I mean if I demonstrate this quickly here. I'm going to start off with a gesture drawing because that's the way that I draw the best. And you may differ. I see a hallway that looks something like this. I'm drawing the floor of the hallway. I see all these reflections on it. I see this sort of brown material that's on the bottoms of the walls here. And then I see let's see, a little rectangle at the back, way teeny way at the back where the windows are. I see a bunch of stripes of lights and so forth. I see a little exit sign. I see the kind of little stripy pattern that the classrooms make. And I see a restroom sign that kind of sticks out right about here. I see a clock. I see a vending machine sign. Let's see, I see a vending machine, in fact, and I see some doorways on this wall. Here's the clock, something like that. It overlaps a little bit. This drawing, which I think you can see. Yes, you can sort of see it. This drawing is very, very indistinct, but it begins to help me imagine the proportions of the hallway. So I'm going to take my pencil now and correct it a little bit. If I look at this tiny little end of the hallway down there, I see a panel on the left, I see a teeny little exit sign, and I see 3 windows on the right that are kind of like that, right? And I happen to know, because I've stood at that panel, even though it's very far away, I know that my eye level is right in between those bars of the window. Right? There's almost as much room above me in these tall ceilings as there is below me. So my eye level is right in here somewhere. So if I could measure one of these angles, and remember I do have to measure one of them, then I'll get the vanishing point for everything else that's parallel to them. And that is a prize worth having. So I'm going to say that this is the bottom of these walls. I changed my mind a little bit about where these walls end. That's now become part of the reflection. This is the vanishing point right here. I'm extending it, right? And that's typically where it will be, right in the center of your picture if you're drawing what you see from life. That means that I have to draw a line through this corner to get where this side of the hallway comes down, and this is going to give me the lines for the ceiling if I draw it straight. And this is going to give me the lines for this part of the ceiling. These lines in here, these things that I'm making into dotted lines now are imaginary, but these lines are real. These are the lines that show where those little radiator vents are that we see at the top of the ceiling. Oh, they're not radiator vents at all, they're lights, whatever they are. This is where those little horizontal lines get further and further apart as they come closer to us. This is where, let's see, I see there's an exit sign right about here. And then there's a place where I see some dark brown lines.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Really well, thanks. And there's a security guard coming down the hallway. Here's that clock that I see at the very far end of the hallway. Here are the shooting a video telling them how to do one-point perspective.
What's that?
I'm shooting a video telling my students how to do one-point perspective.
Oh, have a good day.
You too. Here now is the restroom sign. I'm going to have to lower it a little bit. Here's the door to the restroom. Here's a place where you can walk in there. Right? There's a little place where we can walk into the restroom now, which is handy. Here's a place where we can walk into the study cubicle there, or whatever it is. And here's that vending machine. Here's the vending machine sign. And there's the vending machine. Darkness above the vending machine. And there is the vending machine top coming down to meet eye level. Here is this door now. Whoops, I left the door out. Maybe I can stick it in. If the top of this door is here, the top of this door has to be here because they're parallel to each other. And they share a vanishing point. And here is the clock. Now, I need to move it down quite a little bit. And you can see that my drawing, which was a pretty good drawing to start with, vaguely reminiscent of real life, has now become a lot more accurate because linear perspective has helped me true up those angles and make them consistent with